Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you guys having a great time at the Wiki Expo. Thank you for inviting us today. So, my name is Irina Jadala. I am co-founder of TicketMeta. It's a blockchain-based ticketing solution for the primary and secondary market. And I'm really glad to introduce you today to our Dream Team panel here. It's Vaibhav Ali, co-founder of CryptoNet UAE, Angelina Kwan, CEO at Stratford Finance, Chris, CEO at Infinity Exchange, Chenet Soy, President of Asia Blockchain Society. Thank you for being today with us. So today the topic is the future of finance through DeFi and blockchain innovation. And so it's quite interesting topic, and we would like to know your insight, opinions. So my first question is, what are the primary advantages of DeFi compared to traditional financial system? And how do these advantages contribute to the future of finance? So Chris, do you have any
Let's kick it
opinion
off.
on it?
So obviously the two main parts of DeFi compared to TradFi is custody and governance. So if we start with custody, the whole concept of DeFi is that everything is non-custodial. So you own your own keys, you own your own tokens. Within the concept of sort of custody, the opportunities within DeFi really come from the ability to interact through interoperability and composability. So with one wallet, through Ethereum virtual machine, EVM chains, you can access the same protocol on different chains based on the same tokens with different trading opportunities, whether that's from a yield perspective or whether that's from an incentive mechanism perspective. You can then branch out from different protocols on the same chain, different protocols on different chains. And that really brings you back to sort of the traditional market concept of relative value trading. So when it comes to DeFi, it's opening up the ability to trade relative value within the blockchain on same tokens on different blockchains on different protocols. The second key element is governance. So when it comes to equities and sort of fixed income, a lot of the macro and geopolitical moves which occur, without the ability for the society or the people of the governance to partake. When it comes to the governance of DeFi protocols, typically what you see is a higher correlation between the governance proposals being passed, and that being in the interest of token holders. So those are sort of the two main things: custody and governance.
So how do you think that regulation can affect DeFi?
Well, it's very interesting because, and thank you today for being our moderator, and thank you, Wikifinance, for inviting us here today. DeFi has been a very interesting area for regulators, and being an ex-regulator, if you were looking at DeFi and just sort of like trying to get your hands around it, it is not an easy concept, and it is not an easy area to actually regulate. But IOSCO, which is the International Organization of Securities Commissions, in December 2023 put out its first recommendations. And the SFC was one of the first regulators to also embrace this. And basically they came out with, look, you have to know what the DeFi system is, you have to know what the governance is, you need to know how it's run. The DeFi protocol should actually publish this information, and so on and so forth. So the first sets of regulation are out there, and I hope it does help DeFi operators at least start setting out a framework when they set up a new DeFi network. And I hope in time IOSCO will come up with the start of a licensing regime, because as we see now with licensing, and this is the thing of one of the reasons why I jumped into this industry, was because with licensing it becomes more and more institutionalized and much more accepted. And I believe that DeFi is the second generation of digital assets and Web3, and very much a part of it. But without institutionalization, we won't see the big money moving into it. And there's still so many naysayers that say, oh, DeFi, it's dangerous, it's going to eat your children, and it's not going to eat your children, but it does and can actually help with financial inclusion. It can help actually make possibly financial services cheaper for others that are unbanked. But then we go back to the fundamental issue of making sure that people have SIM cards as well as computers that they can access the networks with. So that's, I think, regulation will help the industry grow and further develop. So that's what I think.
I would like to add on a couple of things to what you just said. I have a lot of friends who are, in compliance, and we always make the people look bad in compliance and in regulation. But please, I just want to make this very clear that their job is actually to make sure that the retail investors do not lose money. Right? They how much ever they may care for the industry and how much ever they might want to push DeFi to go mainstream, the first and perhaps the only objective is that retail investors who perhaps would invest money by looking at an ad that Kim Kardashian put out or any celebrity put out, their job is to make sure that your parents or your cousins who perhaps have no idea what DeFi is, what a MetaMask wallet is, for them to be safe. The second important thing that you just pointed out was that since I come from India, but I live in Dubai, the richest man in India, which is Mr. Ambani, he is also, I think, the third or the fourth richest man in the world right now. He spoke about DeFi that actually blew our minds off. Because for someone like him, doing whatever he is doing, and especially in the traditional business, or so we call it in the Web 0 space, which is oil and gas, and now also in the telecom space, he speaks very highly of DeFi. So whether you like it or not, DeFi is coming for your children. It's going to eat you up, and it's going to eat your children up if you do not invest wisely there. So thank you.
So agree.
Yeah, especially in this underbanked population, who doesn't have access to their traditional banking. So they will have this DeFi, they will have a great opportunity to,
So I don't really understand that argument. I think throughout the day, even in the morning, that they were saying that there are people in Africa and India who don't have access to banking. Banking needs KYC, and now a lot of other crypto projects and wallets also need KYC. So I think it is a matter of choice not to have banking, because right now, at least I can speak for India, I think majority of them have access. It is just that they perhaps are not going forward to it. We have something called UPI, which we are shipping it around, I think, 3 countries, if I'm not wrong: Singapore, Sri Lanka, and UAE, which is like your Alipay kind of a thing over here. I think it is their choice that they're not willing to go for banking. In fact, there are a few communities in India which are traditional business communities. They absolutely say no to banking. So I think it is a mindset, because even in crypto, every wallet that I have and every exchange that I'm on, I have provided my KYC, which is also a good thing for ML issues.
Well, Ali, you're coming from Dubai. The population there is a lot of Eastern European.
No, but I live in India.
Okay.
Right? I now live in Dubai, but
Yeah.
all my life I've lived in India. Now I know that how easy access is, provided it's a mind shift game. Like even to get into Web3 or crypto or tokens or coins or NFTs, it's a mind shift.
Yes, but I'm talking about Eastern European country, or some countries who's under sanctions and can't really be accessible. So in this case, it might also works because some families
100%.
are-
For them, crypto is everything. Bitcoin is the god.
Especially in Dubai, I guess you can already buy a lunch for a crypto. Dubai, it's very.
You can actually buy a property, but with the crypto cards that we have, I've been traveling around Hong Kong and the Southeast Asia and Dubai just on my crypto cards.
Okay. But the question is, how will DeFi will be regulated finally? How it will be regulated? What do you think, Angelina?
So as she very rightly said, that it will take a little time first for the regulators to understand which direction the DeFi is going. Like how I mentioned earlier, that their objective is not for the industry to thrive. Their objective is to make sure that the retail investors are safe. So as per my understanding, with what Vara is doing in Dubai or ADGM is doing there, they are still figuring out laws. In fact, a few days ago, a French VC firm was the first fully regulated Web3 fund out of ADGM. They had to actually change laws. So I think regulators are becoming a little flexible, and they want to accommodate Web3 and crypto stuff. But I think it will take a little more time for them to learn and for them to understand with the high the high percentage that they're offering versus the traditional markets. I think that will take a little time for all of us to kind of understand in that space.
Okay, that's great. That's great. And what sector within finance are most likely to be disrupted by DeFi? What do you think?
Dr. Shin?
Okay, yeah, thank you. First, I would like to briefly introduce myself. My name is Chenny Choi. I'm the president of Asia Blockchain Society. Our organization is dedicated to promote the application of blockchain. So as you know, Bitcoin is the first application of blockchain. And second, maybe people think about Ethereum is the second application. So when it comes to DeFi, decentralized finance, there's a lot of advantages or good things. But I would like to mention there's something, maybe people start to talking about DeFi. The first thing is they have to some technical expertise in engaging DeFi practice. For example, are they going to open an account for the token, like decentralized token? If you open an account in a bank, if there's anything, you will be very safe because you can go to the bank. Your money is in the bank. So that means your asset is well protected. But when your asset is in DeFi, you have to accountable for yourself. If there's some hackers or some operation failure, your asset will be gone, and then all your money just gone away. So I think this is the first thing when people are talking about DeFi. You got to know how to operate. You know how to have the knowledge and expertise to practice. That's one thing. And the other thing is people think about the Ethereum, the scalability, or even the cost. You know, the gas fee for the Ethereum is so high. So I think a lot of people, they think maybe I can do it instantly for the DeFi. But on the other hand, you have to consider your counterparty, or is there any additional cost that would allow you to do the DeFi, but on the other hand, it will make you become a barrier. The second thing. And when it comes to people from traditional financial industry to this so-called new financial industry, so-called decentralized finance, you have to think about auditing. Is it a proper audit for your assets? Like Binance, like OKX, these are the famous crypto exchange. But when you put your asset into this crypto exchange, is it a very account practice for your assets? I think that's the question we have to think about it. So I think DeFi is a technical innovation for finance, but there's still a lot of things you need to know before you do this DeFi. So that's my thing I need to mention. Thank you.
I guess that's one of the reasons why regulation is so important, because the regulators will set out exactly what is needed for the DeFi exchanges. When I first started playing with DeFi, I couldn't even attach my wallet to the exchange. It was so complicated. But it was really interesting because it was a new way of trading and a new way of accessing digital assets. And the young lady that had set up this exchange called Mango Exchange, which I think is still around somewhere, but at least they had the, how do you say it, the foresight to start thinking ahead. And without people pushing those limits, I don't think you're going to get as much growth. And that's why I embrace the fact that we do have DeFi and people going into it, because it pushes the boundaries. I don't know. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I think from a regulatory perspective, they tend to sort of ring fence certain activities. So if you're trading, say, spot, that's type 1, trading derivatives, that's type 2. Type 2 or type, yeah, it's type 2. So
For DeFi.
not yet. But the point I'm trying to make is, when it comes to crypto basis trading, for example, or the delta neutral trade, if you enable spot trading on an exchange, you also need to enable derivative trading. And then with derivative trading, you also need margin systems as well. So if every part of the components of a trade or the fund flow is regulated, they need to be regulated in a seamless fashion where they all connect. Otherwise, you basically have individual blockers to be able to enable certain market structures to exist. So for example, structured products, that's probably like a few years away. So when it comes to the space, I think the most disruptive part of regulation for, to answer your question in terms of sectors, I do think it's the money market function in terms of being able to allow the fungibility of real world assets, fiat, CBDCs, etc., to be able to trade on these exchanges, which effectively create synthetic exposure to directional biases. So that's sort of linking sort of the previous question with the question you have there.
Do you think institutional adoption will move faster with regulation, Angelina?
I absolutely think it will move faster, but you're not seeing the take-up as fast with the big financial services firms. And Josh and we were just talking about Jamie Dimon looking at it, but you're seeing traditional companies that are Web3 like Avalanche moving into these industries. I think people are still touchy-feeling it, and for the central bankers and for the established organizations, everybody's either looking at tokenized deposits or CBDCs. That seems to be the flavor right now of the month. So I think the regulators have also been, oh my God, I hope these people don't do this. So they haven't been really pushing it. Whereas the licensed exchanges have been much easier for regulators to get their arms around and encourage and license. So I think that's where you're seeing the speed. But does it mean that it's not going to be out there? I think there are, let's take an example. Hey, guys out there, how many of you are related to a DeFi project?
Raise your hand.
Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we've got 5 people here working on DeFi. Maybe 6 in the back, 7. So we've got 7 people working on it. And most of you are all traditional digital assets, blockchain, Web3, right? Is everybody? Yeah, okay. So there you go, only 7. So.
Well, yeah, but
But you're ticketing, for example.
I'm ticketing, yes.
That
So
could be on DeFi, couldn't it?
it could be in DeFi. So we are now building a secondary market where we'll be peer-to-peer, and then we will use, of course, their cryptocurrency to sell and buy tickets, to purchase tickets. For the moment, we are white label technology that we're integrating into different websites of the event organizers. It's a Web3 events or pop or sports events, and so there's the choices between fiat and the crypto. But we are also, because we know that we're working with Web2 community, they don't know how to, connect MetaMask. They don't know how to create MetaMask. So we created our initial wallet, which is just registered by email. So it's quite easy. And, well, for users, it's very easy to register, to receive the wallet, to receive the ticket. They wouldn't even feel that they received NFTs on their wallet, but the ticket they are validating on the entrance, so it's there. It's quite easy. But yeah, it could be DeFi. I would say we are in DeFi. Yes, of course. Yeah.
Sorry for me asking you.
Thank you for asking me, Angelina. Thank you. Okay, so how can traditional financial institution adapt or integrate with DeFi technologies? We just talk about some interesting examples. Maybe you can, Ali, maybe you have an example for us as well.
So I don't really have an example, but I know that the traditional bankers are paying a very keen interest in terms of what is happening in this market, because I have met traditional bankers at crypto events in UAE, and I'm talking to you about the guys who are like VPs and directors, and they also want to know what really is happening in this space, because the traditional finance globally, I think, is a $138 trillion market, and as per coin market cap, the entire DeFi ecosystem is about, the total value locked is about 200 billion, which is not even like a small percentage of this big number. But 200 billion also is a massive number that is, the total value locked. So they're paying attention. In fact, I was just talking to somebody while I was going down in the lift, and they work for JP Morgan, where JP Morgan is also building their own blockchain called the Onyx. There was a time when the CEO of JP Morgan would go on live television and say that we all
Jamie Dimon.
right, that if I don't believe in crypto, I don't believe in Bitcoin, if any of my traders is involved, I will sack them. And then what happens behind, if he's buying or if he's manipulating the market, we don't know, but I'm sure there is something happening there. And believe it or not, the traditional guys are paying a lot more attention. Otherwise, companies like JP Morgan wouldn't have invested a few $1 million for their own blockchain.
We were talking about it, Chris, right? So you have something to add?
Yeah, so I think something to add there is the system itself in traditional markets, it's not bare, right? So you rely on a custodian, you rely on CCAS in Hong Kong, for example. When it comes to sort of the opportunity set for TradFi, it really starts from the core layer of custody, and if we jump to the top layer where open interest or size of market's largest, it's really the swap space. And so what governs swaps is obviously ISDA. So within frameworks, you have global, as you mentioned, IOSCO, you've got ISDA, but then the core fundamental ability to bring traditional markets into crypto as we know it today, I think really stems from the custody solution. So when we speak to the custodians themselves, the key piece of technology that links their system with ours will be through fixed protocol. It's not going to be through Golang or Python or all these other kind of sort of API feeds. It's really through Fix. And so when it comes to sort of the technological tech stack that they have, it's relatively outdated. And when it comes to the uplift that they would require to bring the API feeds up to sort of a Python system, I would say forget about it. So when it comes to tech, that's really the fix. And then you've got the compliance side, which is when it comes to the smart contract side, or at least the AML side, it's being able to either wrap tokens, whitelist address, or either have sort of folks like Keyring Network, where the smart contract itself embeds certain checks and balances within the transaction authorization. So there's what I'm trying to highlight is, from a market structure perspective, you've got the asset custody and then the ability to create volume. But then within the actual trading system itself, you've got a horizontal set of flow which needs to be governed as well. And that's sort of there's a quadrant there that needs to be balanced.
And I'm sorry, just to add on, you were asking for examples where the banks, so Deutsche Bank has partnered with Fireblock to explore DeFi services for their institutional clients, and this could actually have access to a very high yield. And according to another survey by PwC, 73% of the HNI clients are interested in tokenized assets. and thanks to now BlackRock coming into picture, I'm sure that number perhaps has jumped higher.
But
Thank
the
you.
question is, from tokenization, and Cheney spoke about this, from where we are now in terms of moving into Web3, making the additional jump to a decentralized world completely is going to be even a bigger jump. And I think a lot of companies are still sort of uncomfortable with that because of the risks that you guys had outlined. It's not quite there yet. And I think there are people that are definitely looking into this area, experimenting, and there's still a ton of projects out there. But in my experience, I just haven't seen that many in Hong Kong and in Asia yet. In the United States and in Europe, you're seeing a lot of DeFi projects, but not so much in Asia. And I may be wrong, you can correct me, but we're just not seeing that.
Yeah, because the regulators don't like anything that is decentralized. They want it to be centralized. They want someone's throat at the end of the day if shit hits the fan.
Okay, Dr. Cheney, what do you think about
Okay,
it?
yes, my turn, right? Okay, I'd like to ask all of you, is there anyone you have the MetaMask, TP token, or IM token, decentralized digital wallet? If you have this account, please raise your hand.
Okay, we
Guys,
have
who
one,
have-
two,
who have
Wow.
MetaMask?
three. I have a MetaMask. account.
MetaMask.
4, 5, 6,
Token pocket,
7.
IM token, trust wallet, wherever.
Trust wallet. We only have like 20 people max.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the point. A lot of people talking about DeFi. Okay, they can check from Google. They can know, oh, decentralized finance. A lot of definitions. That's true. But do you really go to practice? Put your USDT, your Ethereum to do the tradings? I think for me, for my experience, I got, because I was the investment consultant at HSBC 20 years ago, and I know many of my friends in traditional financial field, they know what's DeFi, but they don't never touch any digital wallet, even invest a penny in so-called digital assets. So just like a topic, okay, they all discuss, but they don't even enter this field. So still there's a door open. So welcome traditional guys, traditional financial people to go into this door. And I think you can find another new pictures, which is something innovative, instantly, and will bring you new experience in finance field. So yeah, I think more people should put your time to do some practice, not just talk about it, not just mention it. If you put your money into this kind of asset, maybe you can get like 10 times, 100 times, or even lose all your money. So you gotta try it, gotta do it. That's my advice. Thank you.
Well, so I guess this is the main challenges of DeFi when education, customers, and well, security is one of their side that we didn't even touch today. And I guess regulatory compliance that we were talking about. So this is the part of the challenges of their DeFi nowadays, right? Stepping into it.
But doctor here said a very important thing. Please remember this in mind, that you might lose your money too, right? It is a game that you need to play by knowing everything. And please put in the golden advice or the golden suggestion is that please put in the money that you're willing to lose and you're willing to experiment with. You must be wondering why these guys sitting on the stage, talking about DeFi are suddenly saying that, hey, you might lose your money. There are chances. So please go back home and make a note. Please do this for us. I've come all the way from Dubai here. She's come from Singapore.
I'm from Hong Kong.
You're from Hong Kong.
Hong Kong.
Yep.
Yep.
Right. So for your homies here and for the guys who have traveled and come in, please go back and check what is DeFi. Like Google it out and try and experiment something very tiny that you're willing to lose, like a meal, right? I'm not going to say that, hey, go to this project or go to that project. Check it out on your own, because DeFi has grown over, I think, from last year to 500% in terms of search terms on Google. That means that you and I should be paying attention to this. And the faster you pay attention to it, the better mover's advantage you have. And please remember, we are very early in the space of Web3 and crypto. If you think that Bitcoin has hit its all-time high, technically no, Bitcoin has not hit its all-time high, because if you adjust the inflation, I think 79,000 would be an all-time high for Bitcoin. So we are nowhere near all-time high, and even if, I'm glad that we hit it like today or tomorrow, but we are still very early in the game. This is like, like they all say that this is the dial-up internet. How many of us remember the dial-up internet time? Please raise your hands. Right? Only 3? The rest are the guys of broadband, yeah. Right? So we are still there. So please enjoy the ride, but please read at least an hour a day for us to know more about this space. Connect to us on LinkedIn or connect with people and ask what this is. It can truly be life-changing. There are looks that I'm getting from the panel. I need to shut up right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for valuable information, guys, and thank you so much for hearing us today.
Right, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for being our moderator.
Thank you.
Nice to
Thank
meet you
very
all.
much.
Yeah.